I'm here to tell you that you don't have to necessarily join the Peace Corps or Teach for America or go work for an NGO in a third world country to live a life that's full of service. You don't have to do that. I was not your age, but about 30 years old, I started to realize that it was my whole life, not just parts of my life, just not parts of what I was doing, but my whole life was a prayer. My whole life is an offering in service, first to yourself, to become a fully actualized human being. And you do that through your actions and your interactions with others. But when I started to realize it's not just what I do, but it's how I do it. It's how I'm not just praying on my knees, but I live in a state of humility on my knees in service to the higher calling of my life, that things started to change. You know, so many people are worried about building a brand. I hear kids on social media talking about their brand. And I used to really resent the word when people would say to me, oh, you have this brand, because I never even thought about a brand. I just thought about day in and day out, making the best right choice for me. But now I embrace it because I recognize people see me as a brand. But for me, it's not a business. It is a question of what do you stand for? And I will say this, you're nothing if you're not the truth. So I've made a living, I've made a life, I've made a fortune, really, it's fantastic, from being true to myself. And that's if I could leave you with any message today, that is it. The biggest reward is not financial benefits, though it's really good. You can get a lot of great shoes. Nothing wrong with great shoes. But those of you who have a lot of shoes know that having great shoes and a closet full of shoes or cars or houses or square footage doesn't fill up your life. It doesn't. But living a life of substance can. Substance through your service, your offering of your whole self. And the baseline for how do you live a life of substance is whatever is the truth for you. What do you stand for? So when I was saying to my girls last night, some of them would come in to support Sitokamele, what should I talk to you about? They were like, why don't you just, any one of the things you've told us over 100 times will work. So I usually go to my school in South Africa once a year, and I teach a class called Life 101, where for a week I just talk about what I think you need to know to go out in the world. So I'm trying to distill it for you today. And I would say that having compassion for other people is at the top of that list. I would say commitment is at the top of that list, and also a spirit of constructive engagement. And by compassion, I don't just mean sympathy. It certainly isn't pity. It's being present, and it's also feeling with other beings. You know, during the years of the Oprah Show, I interviewed over 37,000 people one-on-one. So whenever I'm telling my girls anything and they say, they start rolling their eyes, I go, I'm the only person you're going to talk to is talk to 37,000 people. So if I were you, I would pay attention. But during all those years of talking to over 37,000 people one-on-one, I could feel what they were feeling so strongly. Sometimes it made me sick, literally. So I had to learn how to feel how others were feeling, feel with others, which is what it means to be compassionate, to feel with others without taking in all of their stuff. Being compassionate means I feel with you. It is one of the greatest qualities in the world to have if you're going to be majoring in what it takes to be a great human being. I feel with you. Means I not only am willing to walk in your shoes, it means my heart beats with yours. It means I see myself in you. It means I may not have shared that circumstance, but I know what heartbreak feels like. I know what pain feels like, and all pain is the same. It means I can feel your will to want to do better and be better. And I feel and I am with you. In spite of everything that's happened to you, I feel your need to rise. I want to help you rise. I want to rise with you. So compassion's one of them. Commitment is another. You know, one of my favorite quotes is Dr. King, who says, not everybody could be famous, but everybody can be great because greatness is determined by service. I am committed to service. Service through my work, service through my life's purpose. And if you make a commitment, a conscious intention to be committed to the work that you do, to the relationships that you have, your life will unfold with such beauty and grace through that commitment. You know, every day until the very final shows of the Oprah Winfrey Show, I would have the producers come in and tell me ahead of time what their intention for every show was, because I figured out around the second year of doing that show that it wasn't just about being on television and performing, that here was this opportunity, this offering I could give to people through the service of a television show to better see themselves through the stories that we're telling, and through those stories help themselves to improve their lives. So I started using television as a tool of service. So as you're trying to figure out, what do I do? How should I do it? First of all, I will say this, that when you don't know what to do, my girls have heard this over 100 times. When you don't know what to do, you do nothing. You get still until you do know. Because when you have to ask everybody else, should I do this, should I, and that's whether it's buying a pair of shoes or going with a guy, buying a house, taking a job, should I? When you have to ask everybody else, it means you don't really know the answer fully yourself. So you get still, be still and know. And more than ever, I would have to say, I miss the Oprah Winfrey Show. I chose to let it go. I felt that I'd said everything I needed to say after 25 years, and I wanted it to be my decision when I let it go. But I will say this past year, and now more than ever, I miss it, because I miss the opportunity for the spirit of constructive engagement that platform offered. So 2 weeks after the election last year, I went to a diner in Queens for Oprah Magazine with a group of women. Half of them were Trump supporters, half of them were Hillary supporters. Nobody wanted to come to breakfast. I was like, it's gonna be some great croissants. We're gonna have some nice jams, ladies. Nobody wanted to sit down and have the croissants. So everybody came in the room all tight and hardened. And so I was able to, they were like, well, I've never been this close to these Hillary elitists. I've never been this close. And there other people were saying, well, I never sat this close to Trump supporter before, but we're gonna do it. I will tell you, after 2.5 hours, I had those women not only eating croissants, sitting around the table, listening to each other's stories, hearing both sides. And by the end, they were holding hands, exchanging emails and phone numbers, and singing Reach Out and Touch. We're all pretending to be Diana Ross, which means it's possible, it can happen. So I want you to work in your own way to change the world in respectful conversations with others at a rate and a rhythm that's in tune with the source from which you have come, your truth. And I want you to enter every situation aware of its context, open to hear the truths of others, and most important, open to letting the process of changing the world change you. That is the spirit of constructive engagement. So that's the goal, to be a compassionate woman of substance, to be committed, to have constructive engagement, to live this life of substance substance. What I know for sure is if you focus on the substance, the success will come. And most importantly, let failure be your friend. There are going to be times, of course, where you're going to win a lot. A lot of things are going to go your way. And it's wonderful to bask in that adulation and to feel proud of your successes. But there are also going to be times, the satisfaction that those moments bring, nothing can compare to that. Those victories will feed you for years to come and help you stay committed when your tank is sometimes empty. Winning is great. It's fantastic. I love it. I love being number one. I love winning. But it's the times when things go wrong, when you fall or fail, that you're actually going to learn the most about yourself. You know, all those years on the Oprah Show, 25 years, we were the number one show for 25 years. And that's because I lived with the intention to serve the audience. The audience came first every show. I would sit with the producers and say, well, I can't do that because I can't find the truth of myself in that show. I have to have a thread of truth to be able to hold on to. So I knew so well the audience. I felt like I was the audience. The audience was me, and I felt so connected. And then I ended that and started a new network. And I flailed for a while, and I was really upset with myself. But I will tell you that when I was able to shift the paradigm to start to looking at, wow, what I have instead of what I don't have, what I have instead of what I thought I'd lost, I was able to begin to turn things around. But it's those moments of being of uncertainty. It's the moments where, you know, all of my mistakes show up on the evening news. You can make a mistake. I can tell if I've done something wrong. It's on the CNN crawl. I can read about it. But learning from the moments where things weren't going so great, being able to get still, to connect with that which I know is God, the force, the power greater than myself, and to come back and realize that in order to move forward, you move forward by taking the next right step. You don't have to know everything to do. You don't have to know all the steps to make. Just what is the next right move. And then there's this. I leave you with this. Nobody makes it alone. Nobody. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what their Insta posts say. Nobody makes it alone. And so you will get nowhere without a spiritual practice. You need a spiritual practice. And by that, I mean not necessarily religion. For some people, it is church. For some people, it is meditating. For some people, it's dancing. For some people, it's singing. But you have got to find a way to nurture that which is the essence of you. You've got to find a way to continually give back to yourself so that you are a full woman. You want to be a woman who's full of herself. I used to fear that, you know, when I first started out, people would say, oh, she thinks she's just so full of herself. She's so full of herself. And I now say, yes, I am. So full. I am so full, my cup is running over. That's what you want. You want your cup to be so full, it's running over, so you have enough to offer others. If you do not have something, a spiritual practice, maybe it's music or dancing or time, just time for yourself to feed, nurture your own spirit, you'll run out. Your tank will become empty. You will burn out and not have anything left to give. So set aside space every day to make space for that aspect of your being which no other single activity you engage in can fully express. That's all I mean by spiritual practice. Nurture that thing that is the essence of you. And I leave you with the words of my mentor teacher, Maya Angelou. I'm thinking of her a lot because it's Mother's Day tomorrow. I'm going to have her on Super Soul Sunday, those of you who watch. But I learned so much from her. And when I had finished my school, and I was so proud of myself for building this school in South Africa, and I went to Maya and I said, Maya, that's going to be my greatest legacy, the school. And Maya said, you have no idea what your legacy will be. I go, I know that, but I really do think that the school's gonna, be my greatest legacy. And she goes, you have no idea. So I go, yes, ma'am. She said this, and I leave this with everybody in the room, graduates, friends of graduates, family. She said, your legacy is every life you've touched. Your legacy is every life you've touched. It's not just the big school with your name on it. It's not the awards that you received. It's not the acclaim. It's every single human being you've ever come in contact with. You have left your heart print and your legacy. I remember the story of a man who was a police officer who his heart had stopped, and they weren't even able to get him to the emergency room, and just cut him open on the floor of the hospital as he was entering the hospital and massaged his heart, he said, for 9 minutes, trying to bring him back. Sounds incredible and unbelievable, but the story he told of having a near-death experience, whether you believe it or not, the impression it left with me was something happened there. I don't remember his name, but the story has lingered in my spirit and abides with me. He said, I didn't see Jesus, but I did have what I thought was my own life review. I was able to feel in a way I cannot explain, he says. It felt like real time, but I know it couldn't have been because I wasn't gone for that long. But I was able to feel in what felt like to me real time every single thing I ever did. And I was able to feel the feelings that I created in other people. I was a wife beater, he said. I used to beat my wife. And I could not only feel the physical pain I caused her, I felt what I did to her spirit. I broke her heart. So when I came back and realized I wasn't dead, I decided I'm gonna feel things differently. I'm gonna try to feel everything with love. I'm gonna feel everything with love so that I can live everything with love. So that's my wish for you. Feel everything with love, because every moment you are building your legacy.